If you haven't seen part 1 about the hidden empire of Tartaria, go watch it first. Because what I'm about to show you changes everything you think you know about technology, history, and the very world we live in. Look up at the skyline of any old city and you'll see them, those ornate spires and grand domes crowning the tops of buildings. We've been told they're decorative, just flourishes of a bygone era's architecture. But what if they're not just for show? What if these features are actually the visible tips of a sophisticated, forgotten energy network? Notice how so many of these spires shimmer with copper or even gold. These aren't random choices by eccentric architects. Copper and gold are among the best conductors of electricity we know. They're materials chosen with purpose. And if you look closer at photographs from the 1800s, you'll see the same pattern. Copper domes, metal spires, intricate ironwork, all seamlessly integrated into the buildings themselves. These elements didn't just make the city beautiful, they were functional. The buildings were designed to collect, channel, and distribute energy. Imagine a city where the very architecture is alive with power, harvesting the energy that surrounds us. These weren't just homes or offices, they were machines hidden in plain sight, using free energy technology that's been kept secret from us. Now, think about those star-shaped forts scattered across old maps, the ones historians claim were for military defense. But look at their design. Precise, geometric, almost mathematical in their beauty. The moats around them weren't just obstacles for would-be invaders. Water is a natural conductor. The points of each star could collect atmospheric electricity from every direction, funneling it into the heart of the structure. These weren't just forts, they were massive energy capacitors, storing and distributing power across the grid. Take a step back and look at the way entire cities were planned. Old cities were often built in patterns that echo the sacred geometry found in nature. Circles, spirals, perfectly straight lines connecting major landmarks. If you trace those lines, you'll find that key buildings are linked together, creating an underlying energy grid. And what about those streetcar lines that ran through every major city in the 1800s, only to be ripped out and replaced by buses and cars? Those weren't just for transport, they were part of the power distribution network, moving not only people, but energy itself. Consider the grand expositions and world's fairs of the 19th century. We're told they were just exhibitions, showcases for art, culture, and innovation. But look closely at the buildings and towers constructed for these events. Some are nearly identical to the wireless power transmission towers designed by Nikola Tesla decades later. The similarities are more than coincidence. Tesla didn't invent wireless power, he rediscovered it, tapping into knowledge that had existed for centuries, knowledge that was on full display at these global gatherings. Here's where it gets even stranger. We're taught that widespread electricity only came about in the late 1800s, after the invention of the light bulb and the construction of massive power plants. But how do you explain photographs from the 1850s and 1860s showing entire city blocks illuminated at night, long before the supposed advent of public electricity? Where were the power lines? Where were the smokestacks and humming generators? They're not there, because they weren't needed. The buildings themselves were self-powered, drawing energy from the atmosphere, the earth, and the geometry of their own construction. Look at architectural cross-sections of these old structures. The spires weren't just pretty, they were collectors, pulling ambient energy from the sky. The domes below acted as receivers, channeling that energy downward. The elaborate metalwork that wound around columns and along rooftops wasn't just decorative, it was a built-in distribution system, moving power to where it was needed, lighting up halls and powering machines with no wires and no bills. But then, something changed. In the early 20th century, a systematic transformation swept through city after city. Spires were removed, domes were covered, hidden, or outright destroyed. The intricate metal filigree was stripped away, melted down, and replaced. The original technology was replaced with the electrical grid we rely on today. Power plants, substations, endless miles of wiring, all maintained at great cost and delivered for a monthly fee. Look at the headlines from that era. City after city devastated by sudden, massive fires. Chicago, Boston, San Francisco. We're told these were tragic accidents, but when you realize that each fire conveniently wiped out the oldest, most ornate structures, the very buildings said to house this advanced technology, it starts to look less like coincidence and more like a deliberate reset. The old power systems were erased, and a new, controlled, monetized grid was put in their place. Today, we're told this is progress, but ask yourself, why do we still rely on an energy system that's so inefficient? Why do we need towering power plants, endless cables, constant maintenance, and, of course, the never-ending bills? Why do so many of these systems feel like they're designed to keep us dependent rather than free? If a civilization, over 2 centuries ago, had already figured out how to harvest free wireless energy, why was it buried, hidden, and replaced? The evidence is still all around us if you know where to look. Walk through an old city, tilt your head back, and really see the decorative elements left behind. They're the last traces of a superior technology, a technology that was once open to all, but has since been locked away. This is just the beginning. In Part 3, we'll go even deeper. We'll uncover what really happened to Tartaria, the cataclysm that wiped it from history, and why those in power don't want you to know about it. Because to understand how Tartaria fell is to understand why our world is the way it is today. If you're ready for the truth about the Great Reset that erased the most advanced civilization in history, drop A in the comments and stay tuned. The story of Tartaria isn't just about the past, it's the key to our future.